Let's make some fun ephemera for our junk journals. Hello and welcome to the treasured page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I'm having a look at my junk journal for July. I've been playing along with the junk journal July prompts as set out by Meg Journals and Get Messy Art. And here is the prompt list, and I have got up to number 18. I think you saw me do that, and then the next one would be number 19 for a tag, and 20 is a picture. And that was the last 2 days worth. I like to do them in sections of 3. I just get in the flow when I've got time, and then I like to just put down a few. The ideas seem to come as I get into it, and then when I step away I sometimes find it difficult to come every day. So everyone has a different way of journaling. So this was number 18, to be nice and free with some free collage, loose scrap pieces and just some painting there and a little loose free sketch using items that are free. So everything was free. Has been folded in there. So this is the journal, and I've just found this because the next prompt is tag, and this was some packaging, but it's already looking quite fun and vintage and grungy and of interest, and this is because it was for some stickers that came to me, and the shape of it's quite nice, so I'm wondering if I could just cut that bit out or cover it up. So I'm going to look at that for my tag base today. Part of the fun of playing around in a junk journal is to explore and have ideas just using scraps and junk. I always remember when I was at art college that we used to try out our ideas on bits of scrap first, and then you would develop the idea and ultimately make something that you wanted to keep as a worthwhile piece later on once you've explored all the possible ideas. So I'm just going to cut this out. So I think that's where junk journaling and art journaling, creative journaling has been familiar to me, because that's the way that I used to work when I was doing art at university. And I would definitely not want to use my best materials just while I'm developing ideas. So it's a wonderful way of just using a junk journal to explore your creativity. And if you're just working in scraps and junk and bits and pieces that you would otherwise be throwing away, things of no real value because you've either used them or they've come through the door as free post or it's a magazine, there's nothing to lose. It's just paper. It really isn't anything to worry about. You can have a go and you can have a play. So this is what we're doing here. We're just taking a nice piece of packaging and using this to make something fun. And there we go. So that's going to look a bit like that. And where I've got the white edge line, I like to put the ink. And then we've got this bit here which I've sort of damaged there, so we don't worry about that because that's an opportunity to repair that and turn that into an even smaller tag. So I think we might even end up with 2. I'll just make a repair there. Oh, there we go. Now this piece is just shy of 8 inches, so it's about 20 centimetres by 10 centimetres, which is 4 inches across. So this piece is 3 inches in the middle there. So if you've got a scrap of paper, you could just round the corners and then give yourself a template, draw around, and then you could cut out just in the same way. Now I've got a scrap of wax paper that I want to use today. It's quite translucent, so this is the wax paper that I have, and it's used in the catering industry, so you can get hold of that. Right, so I'm tearing off a piece here to match the size. I'm going to keep hold of these pieces. Okay, so with the metal ruler, I've just torn out a scrap which fits perfectly behind here, so it looks like that. So I think I want 2 pieces to sandwich together, be able to trap something in between. So I'm going to just tear down another section. Okay, I'm just pinning this in place for the moment, just to put it there to see how we like this idea. Right, that's how that's going to appear, quite opaque with 2 pieces. Okay, I'm pulling out all my journaling supplies that I've had for years, don't always use. I've got this really lovely wide washi tape. It's got a butterfly on it, it's really pretty. It's also got some pink berries. It's doing that thing where I'm struggling to get it off. I have been told to put it in the microwave, so if it gets really bad I might resort to that, but I always worry that that's going to make things worse. But what I'm thinking is I will put this on one of my wax papers, and I'm just keen to understand if the wax paper could do something when heated. Right, to make this work, I'm lining the top of this tag where it will peep through. I'm lining that up with the line on my table, and this could be a grid on a cutting mat. And then I'm just putting this there where I would have it, so I can see that that is the line where I would start to see the washi tape. And then I'm going to, I think I'm going to come quite far over with it and put that down there, cut that bit away, and then I'm just going to run a bit of glue down this side here so that we can stick it a little bit on here. Okay, and then that's quite a nice little backdrop to see inside our tag. I've got a botanical image cut out of a gardening book, and I'm going to add that in, so I'm just going to glue that down onto the paper. Alright, so I've added glue onto this one. I'm just going to add it here and put that on the line there. This is a washi tape sticker, but this could be cut out of a magazine, so an image, any image. We'll just put that there. And then I think I was just going to have this one down here as well. We'll just put that one there, and that can overlap. Okay, and now I'm bringing in a heat resistant mat. This is just a silicone mat that I've been using for gluing, and I'm just wondering if I can heat this up enough for it to melt. And the other way of doing this would be to take some baking paper, parchment paper, and sandwich it between two sheets and then iron it with a warm iron and see if we can get that to melt. Alright, that was a cool experiment. It has melted the paper, but it hasn't fused the two together. But this is the difference. So this is the one that hasn't been heated, and you can see where it's been creased and damaged. You've got the white lines of the wax, you can see it. But when it's been heated, it's disappeared, and what's happened is it's got a really wonderful crinkle and a nice sounding quality to it. It's become like a glassine paper. So this is a really worthwhile experiment, because now that feels wonderful. I'm thinking that that could come and be a very nice page in a journal and have that interesting sound quality to it to almost protect photographs and things that you might want to put in a journal. So that hasn't fused together, but what it's done is create another textured paper, which is always exciting, and it's lost the wax feel. Doesn't feel waxy, that feels really nice. So I'll definitely use that technique from now on, just heating the paper with a heat gun. But what I had hoped it was that it would melt and fuse together so that I don't see the lines so much of my washi tape stickers. I'm now going to further the experiment by putting on some wax here that I've got. This is soya wax, little chips. So I'm happy to do this at the table because it's not going to give off any sort of unhealthy fume, because it's a plant-based natural soy wax. Okay, I've just put a warm iron over the top of it and put some paper towel just to take away any residue wax there, and it has created a slight transparency. It's not stuck together completely shut. I mean, it is a little bit still coming apart. It's not a complete seal. I think that's because there is a wax resist on there anyway from the wax paper, but perhaps if we'd used normal paper like a tissue paper or a tracing paper, that would have been completely sealed. So I've played around with this technique numerous times and the results often vary, but what has happened here is we have actually created a transparency. I'm not sure if that will show up, but there should be a bit of light from the window coming through there, and that's really nice, so you can see where we've got the book page on one side and where we've got the washi tape. So if you use washi tape, it will be see-through all the way through. I'm hoping that you can see that that is a transparent. It's certainly a fun little piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew that on. I'll do some stitching on front and back. Alright, back from the sewing machine, I found some junk stickers there. I've got a little bit of fabric that's going on the top. It has separated slightly. You can see that it's still joined there. With the motion of the sewing machine, it has separated slightly. However, it still remains to be a slightly transparent tag, and then on the back we've got that. So this can now come and live in the journal and be illuminated when you hold it up to the light, and you will see all the detail. So I think that that's been fun. I'm going to put a little bit of ink on that label that I put down the bottom there just to age it up, and otherwise it's got a lovely little rustle to it as well. Okay, got a bit of a texture here, so I'm just going to add a little bit up there and just give it a grungier feel. Don't know what that is, just a little textured piece, came off a stamp set. And then finally I want to add my number, and this prompt was for number 19, so we're going to add that up there. There we go. And that is my idea for the tag for Junk Journal July. So I'm going to come and put that in here, and I think we have got space at the back just to be like that. It's quite fun, isn't it? And then it'll all be hidden in there. And I've got a paper clip here which has got a couple of charms on it, so it's got a lock and a key, and I'm going to put that on there for number 19. So this effect could be achieved with vellum or with tracing paper. Always fun to use a supply that we have, maybe bought for some other craft, and then we've got a whole roll left of the stuff. And it's just nice to find some other reasons for bringing that supply in. So that was good. And with the piece that I started with, it was scrap. And this is what I've been able to do with that remaining scrap you saw at the beginning of the video. Now I'm very pleased to say that I've set up my new embossing machine, which is a Big Shot switch from Tim Holtz, and I had saved up with all of the donations from the Ko-fi shop, donations from you wonderful, wonderful people that have helped and supported me over the last year. I bought it some time ago, but I didn't want to open it and I didn't want to use it until I had reached the total over on the Ko-fi shop. So that happened, and I felt very happy to celebrate with my embossing here, and it will just help to elevate my crafts and be able to bring you videos using some of these supplies that you may have and not quite know what to do with, or you just need that motivation to get these things out because sometimes they're just sitting there gathering dust, aren't they? See if you've got any nice embossing folders and have a go with some wax paper. And what we've got here is very similar to a glassine, but it still feels a bit waxy. Okay, I'm just bringing in a scrap of paper behind to protect the table. What I want to do is now heat this up and see if I can lose some of the white lines that have been created when I've embossed this wax paper, and just see if I can recreate that lovely texture that I just had when I heated up the wax paper before, and create a mock glassine, like a real original old vintage glassine, the sort that you would see in an old album when you turn the pages, and that's what protected the photographs. Alright, so I'm just going to let that cool down. You can see that the white marks have gone, the embossing has remained, and as it's cooling down, the wax is soaking into the tissue paper. Look at that. That has created what I really hoped it would, which just reminds me of the sort of paper that came over confectionery when I was little and growing up. And my grandparents used to have a very fancy box of chocolates. Perhaps they were given it from London. This sort of paper was on top and you peeled it off and then all the very special chocolates were beneath. I think that's really lovely. What a brilliant supply. And listen. Got that wonderful crinkle to it, much more crinkly sounding than when I started. Doesn't feel too waxy, and it just feels like original vintage glassine. Now this is a pack of glassine bags that I bought. They are for the wedding market, designed to be confetti bags that you can fill yourself, and it says that they are self-sealed glassine envelope bags. But let's just have a look. This is what's being sold to us as glassine, and you can get this on Amazon. And I've bought some larger sheets of paper in glassine, thinking that it's going to be true glassine as I remember it from the vintage era. More like this, see-through, translucent, crinkly, lovely, just pretty. But this is absolutely so far away from anything like that it in my mind isn't glassine. In fact, it feels like it's got a plastic coating and you can't see through it. The only thing you can do with this is scrunch it, wet it, and then ink it, and it just gives an interesting texture or something worthwhile and fun that we can embellish. So we'll have a play around with these, because I am utterly unimpressed by what I got sent, because it's not glassine at all, so we've got to figure out something else. So that will be another video. But this is exciting. This can definitely come and live in a journal. Now, the theme for the projects that we've been making this month is all about cuisine and culture, and I have got this insert that I'm going to be sending off to my swap partner this month, and I need to get on with it now. So I've got the inspiration there, I've thought of some ideas, I've made my little folds, so I'll just show you what I've got so far, so that anybody making one of these and a little bit lost for inspiration, you can see, don't worry, because I am still working on mine and I haven't sent mine out yet. So there we go. I have got 4 panels like this zigzag here, and this back piece is the piece that will get stuck down into the journal. When it's all embellished, it will become a pocket or a tuck for the person that's going to receive this one. And here you can see I've done this by putting a bit of lace here, so when we open it up like that, we've got this lovely lace edge there, and that's been created by making this first fold a little shorter than the back fold. So this was one piece of paper here. This piece here was one sheet of paper folded, so that folded and then it folded again, but on the final fold it was a little bit longer, about 1/4 of an inch longer here, and then I have taped it down with this next panel. So that's how that looked. I think it was all one piece of paper, but I just made this bit a bit longer so that I could create this peep out edge. And then here we've got this next bit, which is just folded paper. Then on the back here I'm starting a collage, and I've just got a bit of vintage recipe there for some wine. So that came from a winemaker's journal. Now, what I thought I'd do with the Junk Journal July is just dip in and do a few more of the ones that I felt right to me. So I have finished on number 19 with tag. That's the one we've just done. The next one would have been picture. I'm not doing that one. 21 is colours. I think I will do that one. And then I'm not doing timeless. I'm going to do tip in, and then I'm going to do poetic. So I'll do that now, but I will leave it because I will do those in my own time, and I will be moving on to other projects with the channel here. So what I want to do on this one, I've realised that I've got this and I can't leave it like that. It's bothering me. So for the prompt colours, which I think is 21, I'm going to be bringing in this very bright colourful piece of paper here, which is also yellow, and I just thought that that would bring this page together. And also there was, if I can find it amongst the jumble, and also this came off of it. So I've cut this piece off because I just wanted to see if that would fit down there, and it does. So I like that. So I'm going to put this in here as something colourful and just create a little spread there today. So I'm just going to make a start with this. This is lovely and colourful coming in here just to embellish this journal, which I'm really pleased with. I'm cutting this butterfly out. So this came off of an album that is used for collecting vintage tea cards. So you would have had this if you were collecting up the old tea cards. So let's see what we've got here for scraps. I've got some vintage map here. This could be quite fun. This reminds me that we could be on a nature trail somewhere, and I'll just pull up the tail of my bird here. All right, put the bird back down there. So this now looks like we are going places on a field trip here with this colourful butterfly coming in, and that can be stuck down on there. I think I will create a little pocket there. Okay, now I'm going to stick this piece down here so that I know where I want my butterfly. So that's going to fit in there. And then the butterfly can come and be here. Okay, I'm gluing down this piece here. Just going to hide that white gap there with this scrap. Put that in place. Just because I'm aware that I might see something when the butterfly pulls up, so I'm going to put this tape here, which looks quite nice anyway. So if it does lift up, there's some images under there. I'm just giving it a tear line rather than a sharp line. That looks more blended in. Little tuck point going down here with my butterfly. I've glued it on 3 sides, and the butterfly wing is going to ping open. So I'll just tuck that bit under there. Just a little bit is popping up. Let's see how that can work. I'll just bring that over, put the crease in. Okay, this could become a little point where we could tuck something as well underneath the wing. So that's of interest there. I've got this, which could be something that lives in our little pocket. So I might embellish that. And I did find this frame. So now I'm wondering whether I can complete the picture challenge for number 20. And this is just a paper frame that I found in the scrap tray. I'm just putting some dark ink on there. That's the ground espresso that I'm working in. Put that down. Sometimes you've just got the scraps to hand and it all seems to work. So nice little bit of vintage map there. Covered my finger in the ink, working over myself. Not great, but let's just... So let's add that there. And then I've got this picture, which I think could be fun to add. Got another little label here, which has been folded in half. Okay, I'm going to put this down here to create a little frame. I'm just cutting down this label here, making it a bit shorter. So I've cut this label in half. I'm putting one at the top, one at the bottom, and I'm going to bring the photo in there and just create this fun top and bottom part, which is going to sit in the middle of my frame. So let's just see how that could work. Just age up this piece of paper, then bring that in here to live there, and if I get it just lined up right, it'll look like there's a lovely oval shape behind it. and we'll ink round this vintage photograph and emphasize the original really lovely deckled edge of this old photo, and it's even got a crack and a bend in it, so I'm just going to emphasize that as well with a little bit of ink. That looks really brilliant, and then I'm going to add that in there, and that's going to be my picture. Glue down my girl here, really cute, onto this bit. Just line that up, get that right. This is just dealing with utter scraps and junk shop finds and just bringing it in on this scruffy piece of paper, a little fold there, look, and then when we come over we could do something there, probably put the number on it. And I'll just tidy this bit up here by cutting away this bottom piece here. That can fold round. Ink everywhere to tie in with the aging that's already on this piece, which is an original map. There we go. That looks lovely. Lovely. And then it just wants a label down there. So let's put that on. Little label, maybe something else. Maybe postcard. So a bit more ink around that one, and we'll glue this on and have a double label here at an angle. That's quite cool. Now we're supposed to be colourful, and I've gone very vintage there. So I've just found this little sprig here, which I'm going to put at the top there. And that will give it something that makes you want to pull it out to see what's in there. So I think that that's quite good. We're going to ink round the edge and age this up. This is a digital printout. I was sent this by a friend. Number 20. I've got my 0 here. I've lost my acrylic block, so we're just trying to do it by hand. Probably really wonky. Oh, that's cool. So that's worked out, and then we will have that tucked in there. Whew, good. And then this label with some ink effects on there, just dabbed a wet label onto the oxide ink pad. This was fun. I quite liked the word, the price is 6p, so I'm going to keep that bit and bring that in here just so that we can read that. Bring that in and just lose that line that was all the way up. That adds something there, I think. There we go, and then just to soften that corner up, I'm putting in a piece of lace, and that will link in with these pages here when it's open, and when it's closed we've got this. So we now see the background, which ties in with the colours, so it's all yellows and greens, and then we've got this pop of colour red for the prompt for colours, which is 21, and I think this is 20. I can't get so confused with it all. What am I going to be doing? Picture and colours. All right, so we did the tag. This is picture and this is colours, so that is 20 and 21 we've done there. And then I'm going to put my number 21 on my label. I'll just use my brown espresso, ground espresso ink, just using that for this one here. And number 2. Now I've done it wrong because that's 1. Oh, spot the deliberate mistake. Right, that is not 21. That was going to be 12 if I'd carried on with that. So I'm now just putting an extra piece of paper over the top, and we'll try again, which actually might look even nicer with that paler colour. Let me stamp first before I do anything silly. Just stamp it here. 21. That's better. Yes. So we'll glue that down now and pretend like it didn't happen. Sometimes the mistakes just make way for something even better. So we'll add that there, and I think that does work because it brings the colour out of the butterfly where we've got white, and it just brightens it up in that top corner, which means I just want to put a little bit of ink on this. Okay, I've found this butterfly. It's perfect colours, and you can never have too many colourful butterflies, so I'm just going to add that in. It's tying in with all the little yellow pieces and gold pieces that we've got going on, even with that little piece of fabric just at the top there, and I think that that's lovely. And we've got a little tuck point there, and we've got a pocket here as well, so I'm adding that in. There we go. That's very vintage and very colourful. I think it works quite nicely with what's going on the page before, where I've got some old book page there, and we've got the spyglass. Then we've got the picture that has been put together today with this bit on the back. This is now a little journaling card, little note space there. So that was picture and colours, and then this closes up like that. I've got a little lock and key paper clip here. I might put this here for now just to keep that bit closed. That's really cool. I'm very pleased with all of that. I have got space there to put something else, so the tag may come and live at the back in a minute. And then what I wanted to do was going to do two more, and that's going to be Tip In and Poetic. Now Tip In is number 23, so I shall be missing out Timeless, and I'll be missing out 24, 25. 25 is tea dyed, everything here is tea dyed. Ephemeral, we've used ephemera to put in the prompt today, so I feel like we've done that, so that's already there. And timeless, well, a lot of these pieces are timeless, so I'm not feeling terribly inspired to do a spread on that. And shade, again, I'm not feeling interested in that one. And as we all know, there are no rules in junk journaling, so I'm just going to break them. I'll do Tip In and Poetic. I will just leave that there, but because I'm running out of space and I want everything to dry, I'm going to put that out of the way, and I'm going to now start to work on my project for this month, which was the fold out accordion style insert. Now I've got one that's going to go in the back of that little mini journal we've just seen, but this is my project for this month, which is going out to my swap partner. And what I had asked everybody to do who wanted to take part in this month's project was to create a little fold out like this, so that this shorter piece at the back is going to come and live in the back of your journal if you made the project from June. So if you've got your June project, you will then be able to add this in like this, and then you will embellish and decorate that to create a tuck or a pocket. So this is my latest one that I've made. This one I'm sending out in Happy Mail this month. So I just thought I'd show you something and tie in an idea from earlier. So for Tip In, I'm going to use my glassine paper that I made, and I'm bringing this over, and I'm going to have it coming in here as an extra page, an extra piece of paper that I would like. I'm just going to trim that down, and then I'm going to sew it in so that the sewing embellishment is on the outside. I'm just paper clipping this one sheet in place, and I'm just going to mark some holes about there, and one there, and then one at the end about there. That's great. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about it the opposite way. So normally you might start in the middle, but I'm going to leave the tail on the outside of this piece. So I'm just going to come up through the middle, out through the other side. This is the 3-hole pamphlet stitch in reverse, and so we come back out, so we have that, and then I'm going right the way over the top, give myself a bit more length, through here like that, and then out through the middle again, avoiding the stitch that I've already made. And there's the long stitch, and it's really important to get the threads either side of this central stitch, because if you don't, you will lose these two pieces in, it'll work its way back in through the hole. So it's this center stitch that prevents it from working its way back into your paper. So we do need to have it either side. So that is all trapped in. Tie a little bow, and that's how we've got that looking. Okay, a while ago I was given some of this tape which has got images on flowers and sunflowers and things like that, and what I want to do is bring that in there to strengthen up the middle piece and just make that look a little bit more like a centre page. Just put the fold back in there. I'm adding a little piece of lace just so that when you first open it you can see just a little vintage charm, and then adding this in, and this is my tip in for Junk Journal July, just how to do that with something a bit different, creating this lovely textured piece with a nice piece of lace. And of course I could have put that on before sewing it in, and then the cotton would be on the outside, but it's quite nice to have it trapped, and then some more things can be put on here and glued on. So this is really fun transparency paper that can be used there, and that is going to be like that, and then that will all close up. So I'm going to look for some beads in a minute to put on the ends there. So this is my idea for the Poetic prompt for Junk Journal July. I had a look in my vintage books and I found a poem by Mortimer Collins, and it is entitled Salad, and I thought that that was excellent for this summer journal that we've got going on here, because it is our culinary vintage vibe that I've got going on, and I just think that that little bit looks like it could be a menu sign outside a very nice garden restaurant. And so all that is just a torn book page out of the poem book there, which was a vintage find, and then on the back this looked like a jam label, or it was a label, but it's a die cut, and then I've just cut it and glued it on the back. So that was one piece. There was a middle section as well, which was this bit here. So that was all just one die cut label. So I took out a section which I can use elsewhere, and then just put it top and bottom, so we've got it looking like that. Then I'm just going to add a bit of ink around the top of this. So I'm just gluing down 3 sides, creating a pocket so it can have a tag in there, or a piece of paper or something to tuck in. And that's going to come and live on the front. Now we were looking at colour, pops of colour as well, and the pop of colour is going to be yellow, so I want to put something yellow onto my green string here and have a yellow and green theme. There we go, and just using up some old junk beads that I had from a project years ago that I am never going to be picking up again, and now it has been repurposed into a really sweet little idea here with the tuck point at the back. So I'll keep that there for now, and that's a removable tag. And I'm going to add this in towards the end of this journal, and this is protected here with that from the prompts of threads, and then there's this pull out piece that can come and be there as well. So quite a fun little folder of inspiration there. So thank you very much for watching that, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.